You're still in the UFC. You're fighting at the highest level. How do you react to that? Do you ever look back and just give people the "I told you so's," or how does that work with those people?
I mean, I've forgotten about a lot of those people. Honestly, I was just kind of reflecting. It's actually been 9 years since I debuted in the WC. But yeah, it's crazy. It's been a long journey. I was just talking to BJ because I remembered that he was there at a couple of my first fights in Tijuana, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember it was crazy. We were fighting in this man-made rock. It looked like a cave. It's called the Baby Rock." And I was like, "Yeah," because he was there with Troy, Rude Boy, and Kendall Grove, and yeah, I was like, "Man, those were the days. That was 13 years ago. It's crazy." So
Do you
yeah,
remember?
along the way, I've had some haters, but I don't even I'll tell you one of the ones. There's a promoter that's come to my house recently, and I remember the day he told me I wasn't worth $500,
Shit.
and he had to come over to my house one day for some tickets and stuff like that for a small show, and I just kind of smiled, and I remember what he told me, and there he was sitting in my house, and I was offering him some water and stuff. So that made me feel good.
The losses to Frankie Edgar and Max Holloway. Did those losses? Do you feel like they came from the same thing? Is there something like was there a mental block that you could say you could attribute to both fights, or were both fights kind of a separate entity?
I think completely separate. The loss to Frankie was just kind of getting stagnant in my style and not continuing to evolve after being on such a long win streak. And then he just was able to make adjustments and find a hole in my game, and that hole in my game was just his strength. And so he just, beat me up. And then the last fight, I was trying to make my own camp just because things weren't going as smooth for me out here at Jackson's at the time. And so I decided to stay home. And plus, I just didn't feel like being in a training camp away from home. So I decided to do it that way. And the dumb part was when I got to the fight, none of my coaches had watched me even spar one round. So I was in incredible shape. But so when they were trying to talk to me in between rounds, we were just not on the same page. So that was my fault. And then they didn't know that I had broken my thumb the first round because the doctor kept coming in to check my cut. So I didn't tell him I broke my thumb in the first round, and then I didn't tell him I broke my jaw in the second round. So it was kind of an uphill battle the whole fight.